Why have we chosen to dedicate our professional lives to healthcare, whether we are physicians or whether we are physicists? Because we are fascinated and humbled by the unique combination of knowledge, of trust, and of empathy this field stands for. And to me, this picture illustrates exactly that. Where are we in the year 2020 when it comes to digital health? I think on the one hand, we made enormous progress. Medical information is doubling every 73 days, and there is fascinating progress in the subspecialties. But on the other hand, I think we need to admit that when it comes to the basic categories of trust, of knowledge, of empathy, which I outlined in the beginning, progress is still rather limited. Patients feel uncertainty, they hunt for second opinions, they Google the internet to find out what's wrong, and they need to navigate the healthcare system by themselves. So when I look at the situation, what sometimes helps me is to reduce it to basically the two fundamental questions in healthcare which we want to solve. Number one, how am I? What is my health status? And number two, what is my path to health? And it helps me to use the analogy that we have solved over the last centuries a very, very similar problem. The problem of where am I and what is my path to where I want to go? How do I get there? Let's look at how we did this. In the beginning, we just looked around 50,000 years ago, and we used verbal tradition to explain each other what the way is. Then we discovered new ways of orienting ourselves. We discovered the stars to find out where we are, and we started codifying our knowledge in the first maps. We discovered tools to support us in the question where we are, the compass. And our maps got better and better, and I'm always fascinated how these old maps are a combination of knowledge and myth. Yeah, there's the map and then there's the monster. And step by step, we get more rational and knowledge takes over. We develop new tools, the GPS and the atlas of the world got complete, but still the whole thing was not very user-friendly. While today, by just using our smartphone, we can find out where we are, and we can have access to all knowledge of the world on places on planet Earth, and it suggests how we can get there, and we can even choose preferences how we can get there. And this is exactly how I believe the future of healthcare will look like, and how we will answer the two basic questions in healthcare. How am I, and what is my path to health? So what is the path we have been on in healthcare? We started with the physical exam, and we wrote the first book on what we found. We found tools, like we found the compass, we found X-ray to better define the individual patient, and the libraries of medicine became fuller and fuller. We decoded the human genome, and we found subspecialty congresses, exciting platforms like ECRs to share our knowledge, and more knowledge about the individual patient is generated. And at the same time, we know more and more about medicine. I'm convinced what the main benefit of digitalization is to now make things simple again and to get back to where we started, to knowledge and trust and empathy, so that in the end, we will have an as simple situation as in the question, where am I and how do I get there? There will be a digital twin of ourselves on our smartphone exactly describing our health status, and we will have access to pathways exactly describing us how we can get to health. So I'm convinced the future of healthcare is simple. There will be digital twins and there will be pathway companions. I'm fascinated by the idea of a digital twin since I saw the first work of our research team, which was done together with the University of Heidelberg. The idea was to create the digital twin of a human heart. And it was fascinating how they could make the heart beat, how they could see the effect or make visible the effect of atrial fibrillation, how they could make the heart beat again, and how we started to plan that this is a way to select patients who can be cured with CRT and how CRT should be performed. We are now adopting this idea in all of our work. And I'm convinced personally that when you do this, you need to take a crawl, walk, run approach. You start small and work your way up because it's too easy to become a victim of a boil the ocean approach. Here we show a very simple challenge using a digital twin of a patient to do the right positioning in an MR scan. We work on a more general digital twin model of the patient. So to use this twin model, the avatar of the patient, for treatment planning, for surgery planning, and as I said, for positioning and imaging. Together with leading institutions worldwide, we also use the digital twin in the context of COVID. We take a digital twin of each patient's lung, and based on AI, we compare this lung with the standard lung model to quantify the disease. The next step is building the bridge to treatment. This is what we do with a digital twin used for radiation therapy planning. With a digital copy of the human body, so to say, we select the organs, we identify tissue at risk as much as the tumor to be radiated, and use this as the basis for treatment. And now coming to the pathway companion, step by step, we look into bigger and bigger challenges. It's not only about radiation planning of the next fraction, it's about taking a fingerprint of the individual patient and finding out what should be the treatment regime and feed back the outcome to make the algorithms even better. And I'm very proud of the Lancet publication of our team. The same principle we use in our virtual liver project for targeted tumor ablation. We use a digital twin of a patient's liver to exactly plan the needle electrode position and the power and duration of the treatment. But to come to the picture of a pathway to health, we have to move one level up and give a map for certain diseases of medium complexity, and we started with prostate cancer. Here, our so-called pathway companion starts with all relevant patient contexts for supporting the subsequent radiological reading. It gives a very easy overview of all diagnostic results, gives an overview of all potential decisions to be made, and then highlights the upcoming pathway of the patient. So I hope you can see how all this fits together. And yes, the vision of a future where we have one digital twin and one pathway companion to healthcare, to health, is far away. But it was also very far away for people 500 years ago to believe how we have solved the problem of where am I and how do I get to where I want. I'm convinced this is the path we are on, and I believe that we as a community, MedTech and you as radiologists, are exactly the ones driving this development forward. We often hear that healthcare is behind when it comes to digitalization. I see it completely differently. Healthcare is not behind when it comes to digital. Digital healthcare is the holy grail of digitalization because it is more challenging. Why? Because it's about human lives, it's about trust, it's about data privacy. It is a very complex topic, and there are very strong established structures. So we are the ones dealing with the holy grail of challenges in digitalization, and in order to solve it, we also have to think about how we tackle it. And we need to start by looking at ourselves, how we interpret what we are doing. And I think it is extremely important that each of us, whether we are physicians or whether we are in MedTech, that we elevate our roles, that we look at our role is what technology to do, what technology currently cannot yet do. And as soon as technology can take over, we need to get to the next frontier. I always say, I want to focus on what AI cannot do yet. We need to take a clear position of thought leadership when it comes to AI and data privacy. We need to work closely with adjacent fields. And I believe that nobody else than us is better positioned to be the innovators of healthcare. You, as the technology experts in medicine, and us as the medical experts in technology. And I believe this is an extremely rewarding path we are on, because in the end, it is about using all we have accomplished over the years to get back to this picture and why we are in the field of medicine. It's about knowledge, it's about trust, and it's about empathy. Thank you very much for your attention.